Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, creative ladies around the world. First of all, I would like to ask you if you can see me and if you can hear me, and you can write your messages in our chat. That would be extremely helpful. I will be checking on this and making sure that we can see your comments and your questions. Yes, it seems like ladies answering me and saying all is good, which I'm very pleased about. Dear creative women, welcome back to our second webinar this week, our new reality, present and future. We started our webinar again with a beautiful piece by a very talented composer and singer, Tallulah Randall, called Divine Femininity. What could be more appropriate today at Easter and in the company of so many wonderful ladies? I would like to thank you all, and first of all, our wonderful speakers who've been very patient with us this week, who unfortunately, due to technical problems beyond our control, could not appear on Tuesday, but they're all joining us today. And we're absolutely delighted and so grateful to Dr. Belova, to Xania Wong, to Dr. Kuiljeit Uppaal, to Viola Edward, and to Wendy, Ellin, from all around the world. For those who didn't join us last time, I would like to remind that Creative Women was established several years ago with a live conference in Cyprus on the island of the goddess of love and beauty. And this season, the plans are to move to London, and of course, it's going to happen soon. And in the meantime, we're meeting virtually and we'll be organizing several webinars with many of our very inspiring speakers. Thank you very, very much, our audience, for joining us today. Thank you for your patience too. And in fact, I'm very, very pleased that we have more people joining us today than even on Tuesday, which is wonderful. Yes, we are going through very challenging times, and at Creative Women, we would like to help and inspire as many ladies around the world as possible to bring them hope, strength, and of course, a sense of creativity, which is especially necessary today. Our wonderful speakers, contributors, will be sharing with you their views and strategy, and will be helping you to get through this new reality. You will learn how to turn crisis into opportunity, how to unleash the true warrior within you, and many other things. Please remember that at the end of each presentation, you will be able to ask your questions and our wonderful speakers will be able to answer. Please do not be shy, just go for it and ask them questions. Or if you don't have questions, we would very much welcome you to make your comments. We are ready to start with our first presentation. If you have any questions about any technical side, I have assistance from my office, our wonderful ladies, Alexandra, who most of you know, and Christina. They're behind the scenes and they're operating the system and will be happy to help. But it seems that today we are all fine and we should be good to go ahead. It is my great pleasure to introduce the first speaker, Dr. Belova, who is the member of the Global Future Council at World Economic Forum, member of the Advisory Cross-Industry Commission for the Presidium of the Council for Modernization of the Russian Economy under the President of the Russian Federation. And she's speaking to us from Moscow. I'm passing you to Dr. Belova and switching my microphone off.
Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to share it with you some of my thoughts regarding the today's subject of the discussion. And first of all, I would like to start the short description and year's future. 3 months ago, I would say huge.
Dear Anna, we don't see you. Can you make sure that you appear on the screen? Diana, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Now we can hear you.
Hello?
Dear Anna, you're back. Very good. Please carry on with your presentation. Fantastic.
Okay. So if ago the technology, the idea from the start of the development up to the commercial and platter commercial productivity came within the years. Currently, it's happened within the months. The situation is changing dramatically in artificial intelligence, in Internet of Things. Currently, more than 50 billion devices already installed through all the planet. Every person already in the developing economies has at least 6 IT devices: laptop, computer, phones, smartwatches like this. Those smartwatches can spoke with the coffee machine in the morning, just measuring your pressure and preparing the coffee in accordance with what you are feeling currently and what is recommended for your health. So the world is changing very dramatically. 16 years ago, we just started some computer, internet active using. Currently, the traffic of internet, and including the satellite internet, increasing dramatically. And still we all talking about the technology singularity, because nobody knows what happened. The robotics is developing so quickly, and it's some threat for the substitution of the human in their working place. I have a very interesting report, and I will be pleased to share it later with Olga and with all the team. It was forecasted by the World Bank that up to the 90% of certain professions will be dismissed within the next 15 years. And even currently, it's already technically possible. What has happened during the last 3 months? I think that we can say that the coronavirus pandemic just became a trigger to drop us from 2020s to 2030s, because all the technology which existed before, and we all understand that they exist, but we had some mental barriers to use that technology in our nowadays life. The current situation, the quarantine of the people, the isolation is just heavily pushed to use all the digital technologies. So from my point of view, it's a huge change which coming after the pandemic, because after the pandemic will be the second wave of the structural and systemic crisis which affect all the economy. It's already affected the number of the industries like tourist, transport, aviation, retail, stores, restaurants, small business. What's happened next? Next, we will face with a dramatic change of the business model in our world. First, we see that the world economy as a first reaction for the pandemic is just restructure its current logistic chains, change the integration level. It's coming from the isolation to this establishing the new cooperation. The second issue which we saw is that the reaction of the governments to the current situation. United States, Germany, UK, they promised up to the 70, 23, 27% of the budget to the support the business and that support of the state provides new drivers for the developing of the business in the new configuration, the current situation. We are talking about the serious changes in the models, in the business models, because now we see the office is working with a much less personnel. So we are coming from the current organizational model to the minimization organizational model, to the active usage of the distant work, and to the completely different attitudes towards how we are doing our business. Of course, the slowdown and the drop of the economies in the different countries will cause the wave of bankruptcy. And always the waves of bankruptcy is driving the most creative and advanced company to use the opportunity. Digital is the king, and we know that specifically in the current situation. Some companies in the digital retail and digital stores in our holding, where I'm vice chairman of the board of the directors, showing the 170 monthly increase on the revenue. And that means the completely change of the attitude of the people towards the digital resources on the market and digital consumption. Currently in Moscow, you can just digitally clean your wash, clean your clothes, order the foods, do everything online. And that's never been in such a way even 3 months ago. We can also think that in the society, it will be the serious change in the process of the income. As a result of the next wave of the crisis, the structure of the income in the society will change. So we need a new management model in the business. And if before the normal way was the enterprise developed their business in accordance with a strategy based on what is my best competitive advantage, what I can do better than my competitors. From my point of view, now we are migrating to the situation when it doesn't matter what is your particular competitive advantage. It's much more important what your client and consumers expect from you. So the enterprises migrate to the ecosystems, and the leaders in the business will be the companies who can create the ecosystems which brings the value to the customers. It's like transferring from the Swedish watch, I can do it, to the garden. I will make in my garden all the flowers to grow and to flower, and I will just make the water to my garden. So that's a different business concept. It's a different business model. Last year, we had in Moscow the special event, which called Open Innovation. And we invited some very interesting people to speak in this event. And it was Jack Ma, it was Mitya Kaku, which is an American futurist. And the people asked Jack Ma, can you advise us how we can be successful in the new world? And he told, I can give you a very simple advice. Everybody in this audience can be the billionaire very simply. The people was very happy and they started to prepare to accept that his advice. And Jack Ma told, if you see to the structure of the business in the world, it's 10 years ago, it was a lot of the middle companies providing the services from the consumer, from the producer to the consumer. If you will just take away all this middle chains, middle parts of that chain, you will immediately become a millionaire just using the digital systems. So the digital is a king. It's interesting because currently the digital changing not only the business model, the digital world changing psychology of the society, even with our kids and with our grandkids. Now I'm competing with my grandkids for their attention to me as a person, and my competitor is Instagram. And that's very funny. And I understand the future business will be competitive if the business will be able to keep the attention, to be interesting and useful for the clients. That means that a very important new skills will be not only to understand the digital environment, to work with the IR, with the VR, but it's very important to talk with your customers, to have the executive presence, to have the special skills which can build the trust between you and your customers. And it's very linked to the concept of the creating the ecosystem. So currently what Creative Woman is doing, I think, is creating the ecosystem of the human. And we can be influential, we can share our ideas, and we can bring the value to the society, to all the societies in the world. So I think the world now is more like a liquid. It's very unpredictable. It's hard to make the long-term plans. All the business instruments are changing currently, from the balance scorecard, from the monthly planning, from the budget to fact. We're moving to the agile technologies, the organization of the day, and we are moving to the very specific behavior of the business, to the scenarios. If you have the scenarios and you can match the reality with the specific scenarios in the current situation, you can react very quickly. So multi-scenario world, very movable like a liquid. We're just jumping to the completely different era, competitive era, and we need to think about the advantage of the human relations, ecosystem of the business and ecosystem of the people. And I would like to share with you and to wish you to be successful, healthy, professional, and be safe. I'm ready to answer your questions.
Diana, thank you very, very much for your contribution today, which was very helpful and very inspiring, I'm sure. We are just looking at the questions, if we have any. Please, our audience, do not be shy. It seems like you are shy at the moment. So in this case, if you don't mind, I will ask a question. And obviously, if we will not have at the moment any other questions, I think audience understands all your qualifications and probably a little bit frightened to address any business really question, because how can you really give the right answers, since there've been so many problems and so many changes. But could you possibly tell us, as a serious business woman who is sitting on board of so many companies in Russia and outside Russia, how do you think that from certain point situation will be stabilizing, and from certain points you should be expecting changes to the better, because obviously right now situation is very, very difficult. What is your personal prediction? Maybe you've been consulting with your colleagues in different countries and in Russia. I'm talking about really business now. What are predictions from when we hope to start getting better on track with economy and with the business globally. Thank you very much. If you could make some comments and reflections.
Okay, Olga, with pleasure. I will share my thoughts. Actually, whatever will happen, and it lasted for next 3 months or 6 months, the people will build the new reality, a new system of communications as a boundary between the coronavirus or other black swans which can happen in our vulnerable reality. And this boundary between those black swans and the world of the people, it's very important. And it's very important to understand what is the real threats and opportunities. Where those boundaries which can destroy some part of your model can come. So it's important to understand how different things which were calm and very usual for the previous life will change. For example, yesterday I had a discussion with one of my colleagues who always thinks that the reserve asset is real estate and commercial real estate. And he told, just first time in my life, I realized that the commercial real estate is living the last 5 to 10 years because people is not coming anymore for the big stores. And the businesses doesn't require the big business offices for thousands of the people. The models will change. So my recommendation is just to think currently about how all this transformation, which happened every day, every minute in our society, will influence your particular choice, your particular future. And think about the new opportunities, about the new business models. The people who first will just step this ship will be the winners.
Thank you very much. We have in the meantime quite a few more questions coming and unfortunately we will not be able to bring them all, but we will find the ways maybe at a later stage to address some to them. Okay, one question I will read out from Irina Porit. Very interesting, thank you very much, Anna. Do you have any more examples how some businesses will change from the ones we know? This is how the question was expressed. Maybe from the most obvious businesses, can you make some predictions how they could change?
Actually, I can share what we are doing on as a board of the directors. The first is just we have this 3 level of the analysis. The strategic level of analysis is what is happening in this particular industrial segment in the world and what might happen in the Russian Federation or in the other companies. I am the board member in Ellin companies, German and American companies. And each country, they have the different business environment. And so we think what strategically change in this particular segment. At the middle level, we are reconsidering the investment budgets and we're considering the adjustment of the middle term budgeting in each company in the different business. Some companies is really increasing and we would like to invest more in those companies. For example, the e-commerce retailers really needs delivery increasing, really needs logistic and the складское хозяйство. So some place to store the storages, to store the goods. Other businesses need this anti-crisis program. So what we are doing first, we consider that despite of the huge potential inflation, because in the world currently a lot of the governments, specifically in the United States, stamp a lot of the money, and currently some economists joke that cash not the king, but cash is the trash. But nevertheless, on the company level, we try to mobilize cash for the potential merger and acquisition in the current time. And what is most important is the operational level. First of all, it's a people, it's safe condition of the work, and we analyze the protocol of the industrial companies which used in China because it was very helpful, and we set up the special system to duplicate the different critical function in the business model. So if somebody will be sick, we will have some people to replace. So we analyze the process model of the businesses. And it's extremely important to communicate, because in the crisis situation, a lot of the people feel themselves very uncomfortable, and employees, the stakeholders. So the company need to communicate to those stakeholders the clear vision, what they're doing, how they evaluate the situation, what is the controls they set along the situation, and what are the scenarios which they envision for the future. Because if the situation starts to develop worse, we do have the worst case scenario. If the situation will be moderate, we do have some moderate scenario. And within each scenario, we already calculate SWOT analysis, pros and cons, and the action item list. What we need to do to follow that scenarios. And I think the communication protocol with the investors, with the stakeholders, with the shareholders, with the employees, with the companies who are in a chain, with who supply and who deliver the products to us is very important. And it's important to be sure and to be calm in that situation.
Thank you very much, Anna. In the meantime, even many more questions came on chat, and some in some other way, I'm not sure. My office is just sending me more questions, but if we can agree that we'll answer very quickly two more, but really very quickly, because we need to move on. But I'm so pleased that your presentation provoked so much reaction and so many questions. This is wonderful. The next question is, what about blockchain technologies, cryptocurrencies, and their role in the new reality?
From my point of view, we do two horizons for those technologies. On the long-term horizon, it's very important, and I think that will be triggered to develop and to implement that technology on the wider scale. But on the short-term horizon, I'm a little bit skeptical, because when you have the economic crisis, normally the banking system has come into the strict regulation, because we need to keep at least the stability for the crisis period. And all those technologies, without the proper legal framework of using and protection of the right of the people who participate in those technologies, at least at cryptocurrency side, I think currently it will not develop very quickly. As far as a blockchain is old technology, even in earlier 80s in Russia, we had the technology in our R&D institute, and we call it distributed register technology. And I worked in the early 80s in the technology in math. I'm mathematical engineering. So currently you need the number of this, and I think it's very perspective.
Thank you very much, Anna. And the last question, unfortunately, but we'll find a way, dear ladies, to find answers to the questions we could not address. That question was from London, and now a question from Spain. Please explain more the term about the liquid world. As women, as a woman, I think that now is the time to stay in front line of this change. Please, what is your advice for business women?
I'm absolutely agree. Liquid world means it's like just very dynamic, changing every moment, like and the sea in a storm. And that is why it's like, it's not a term, it's like the current situation. I told you, system is not only for the business ecosystem, is for the communication of the people. And all together we can create the new ideas and just shared our position in finding the solution. The creativity is something which still not, which artificial intelligence can't compete with the people right now.
Diana, thank you very much again for your answers and for your presentation and for joining us today. Dr. Anna Belova was one of our speakers a few years ago in Cyprus, and we very much hope to welcome her back in our future live conferences. We can't wait for this future to come back. And now I will remind Anna to switch off your microphone and your video, because I will make introduction of the next speaker. Thank you very much again. Dear ladies and gentlemen, because we've been joined by some gentlemen, I believe. I do apologize for some technical issues. I think on Anna's side we had these problems, and we very much hope that we'll have absolutely clear pictures and sound from all our other speakers as it was tested before. As I said, questions which have not been answered, we apologize, because obviously we are limited in time, but we will be able to find a way of getting Dr. Anna Belova's reaction and come back to you. And now, with the greatest pleasure, I will be introducing to you our next speaker, who also was one of the speakers in the past at our live conference. It is Xania Wong from Hong Kong. So I'm passing you now to Xania.
Hello, everybody. How are
Xania,
you?
you're here.
All right, I need to switch off my screen. Okay.
Please switch off your...
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. Yes, clear picture, clear sound from my side. Let's see what other ladies saying. Yes, Xania will be starting her presentation. And just to remind you again that you will be able to ask questions. Anna couldn't see the questions coming in the chat, but Xania, you do, yes? You can see questions and you can pick up questions, yes?
Yes. That's
yes,
right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have some time limitations, so we are going to communicate with you and see how many it will be possible to answer. And I pass now to you. So we'll start with your presentation now.
So I'm getting messages from the chat that people cannot see me. Is that true, or can you see me?
I can see you very well.
Okay, now yes. Okay.
Yes, everything is perfect.
Okay, yes,
yes.
Clear from
Fantastic.
everyone. Perfect. Great. So hello, everybody from Hong Kong. Hope everyone is doing well. You can say how you're doing on the chat. I can see that. So today, I just want to share a bit of tips on how to navigate this difficult time. I am somebody who believes that positivity can get us through many things. So I want to give us a framework to get through this period together, individually and together, and come out better than before. So I'm going to start with the presentation. Here. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can, Xania.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Because now I'm just looking at presentation instead of the chat. So, okay. So the idea of today's talk is to see how we can navigate this, probably with more a systematic approach. So I mean, it's a difficult time for everyone, and especially if there is audience who have relatives or themselves have been sick or gone through this period. I'm very sorry to hear that. But we want to see how we can have a positive mind and a clear mind to get through this together. And this is a framework that I've developed that help me and some of my friends and colleagues to get through the tough time together. So basically, the systematic approach is I call it braids or breads. So first is breathe, retreat, assess, digitize, expand, and support. So the first thing is, this is a black swan event. Most of us have not experienced. Even in 2003, when there was a SARS in Asia, I was not in Asia, so I haven't experienced that. So naturally, when human beings are faced with adversity or uncertainty, the first thing is we become fearful, and our minds are all boggled. So I urge you that the first step is for us to really take a step back and calm down. For those who are used to meditation, I guess this is not new. It's not new to you. If you're used to meditation with a group, there are new channels that you can meditate by yourself. So in that case, there are many apps that I can recommend to meditate by yourself. For example, Headspace, Calm, Simple Habit, Insight Timer. All of them have different features and for different levels of users, to either get them to become a beginning or to become a first-time meditation practitioner, or to meditate by themselves instead of with other people. So this is I think the first step to this kind of preparing yourself to get through the adversity. Then the second one is retreat. So this is the time where we have to assess, we have to look at what we need to cut. We have to survive. So obviously the first thing is, for a lot of businesses, is cost cutting. So we will look at, first of all, fixed costs that we can reduce. If, for example, you have rental, I know either you can go to talk to your own landlord, or if you are using co-working spaces or like sharing spaces, what we've seen is that the whole community go speak with the landlords as a group to ask for rent delay or rent reduction. So I've seen that work quite well to try to reduce expenses on that front. On the salary front, we've seen instead of just laying off people, we've seen tactics such as a no pay leave or flexible shifts or kind of pay later scheme that tried to help tackle the immediate cash flow. And of course, the utilities is something you can look at, any sort of fixed utility plans, internet plan that you can try to cut down temporarily or move to a lower plan. And then finally, financial services, if you bought any insurance, or this is a time also good to negotiate a lower interest rate loan. So try to reduce costs in your financial services. So the second step is really, after you've calmed down, write down all the expenses that you have and see what are the fixed expenses that you can potentially reduce for the next 3 months. So then the third step is to assess, which I would recommend the SWOT analysis. I think Anna mentioned a little bit. I didn't go through the presentation, so I don't know if this was presented. But this is a good time to focus more on your strength so that we can tackle the opportunity. So I would be very focused on writing out what your unique value proposition is to your customers, and pick 2 or 3, and then to build your services or your products or your deliverables around that. If you are somebody who always have I guess values or features that go beyond like 3 or 5, or then it's a good time to kind of just take an afternoon, sit down, and just write out like your top 3, your best strengths compared to other people, why you would succeed against other people, and to try to match current opportunities based on that. So after you've assessed your areas where you can cut down expenses and identify strengths that you want to build out, you also want to look at how you can leverage existing technology to get on with the changing world. Obviously, we're all now using Zoom. We've gone from a live presentation to in-person to a webinar. So Zoom is one of the tools that you can use. It is also a good tool if you do any sort of training or lecturing, or even one-on-one consultation. Try to think about all the manual process that you normally do and see how you can use technology to replace that. The other one is if you have a team, you typically have a team, you manage a team in person, how do you bring that online? Some tools that we can use is Slack or Trello, another one, Trello, and that would help improve team dynamics, kind of manage team workload. So basically figuring out tools that would help you disrupt as little as possible your current workflow. And then from once you've identified the tools, the next thing that we want to look at is what are the new opportunities? So obviously this virus has brought the economy to a halt and have reduced a lot of job opportunities, but that actually has at the same time increased many job opportunities or business opportunities. So we now have remote working. So a lot more employers are willing to hire part-timers, contractors online around the world. And e-learning is another area that have been forced to develop really quickly over the last 2 months. So that's an opportunity for business growth. Another one is online shopping, e-commerce, across all ages. To give you an example, one of the supermarkets in Hong Kong, its target market group has always been 45 to maybe 65. So all the consumers, the shoppers, were not tech savvy. They would go to the supermarket 4 or 5 times a week. But because of this virus, they learned how to use e-commerce and order delivery from the supermarket. So now the supermarkets is hiring a lot of people for their warehouse. And their e-commerce business is growing substantially. And then also the gig economy is affected in both good and bad ways. So some gig work have been affected, such as like Uber or any in-person services, but then delivery logistic services have increased substantially. So there are opportunities as well if you look at the whole sector. And tying in with the logistics, there are also new technology developed in the logistics industry. Drone, for example, as a delivery is something that is starting to become more and more popular as they want to replace human touch. And they need to deliver medicine, for example, in a very short time. Also like commercial cleaning. This is also an area that have been put on spotlight, and it's in a growth area that is not going to disappear even when the pandemic is finished. And also wellness. People are a lot more concerned about health and medical services. So a lot of new testing technology or wellness technology or wellness services are surging. So this is when, so these are the opportunities that we're seeing in different industries. So what I would suggest is that based on the strength that we identify in the SWOT analysis, we will look how we can map into these different industries and focus on these growth areas and offer offer your services accordingly. One of the I was actually I was at an event with a speaking event with the Chief Marketing Officer of MasterCard, as well as the advertising editor of Wall Street Journal. This is a time actually your brand, how you relate to people can make a very difference even after the pandemic is gone. So if you are able to identify your strength and figure out a voice that you can connect with people in a genuine way, and then you can map onto these opportunities, that's how the consumers or users are going to remember you after the pandemic. It is a time where it's Darwinism. So the weakest will be weeded out, but the ones who survive will come out much stronger. So as much as possible, use this time to identify where you're different from other people, what your value proposition is, what your voice is to user, how you can really relate and connect with them at this difficult time into these opportunities or these newfound opportunities. And that's how you can sustain or at least strive through this period. And this is also a time where we should be even more collaborative with other businesses or with practitioners in the same industries. I think kindness goes a very long way. So, and like I said, people do remember this after, they remember what you do during this period after the pandemic. So do try to help each other out. So I think somebody mentioned blockchain technology earlier, which is an interesting area, because this is a time I think never before we have become so nationalized. We have become global from a global economy that is converted into a more nationalistic economy, and blockchain would actually help kind of extend, I guess, like preserve the globalism movement. So, for example, we have seen currency exchange, getting money out of one country to another country using blockchain. We've seen that in the NGO space. So especially in, so we have an operation in Myanmar. And so in Myanmar, in the past, there was a difficulty to get a foreign currency out of the country. So the NGOs would use use blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies to get the currency back to the US or UK. And this is actually the time where, because we're becoming more nationalistic due to the virus, there should be more developments in this space. So I think there's also an opportunity that we can look for. Okay, so so this is the I think I'd like to take more time to answer questions because this is kind of the extent of my presentation.
Absolutely, yes.
Should I go straight?
So far, I think we can see one long question, and if you can see it and read it, otherwise I will read it for you and you will answer. Can you see it from Elena Georgiadou? There are 3 levels of response to the COVID-19 outbreak, how it affects us physically, mentally, and spiritually. The physical response came first, and by now everyone knows about self-isolation and social distancing. The second effect on our physics, the best advice in the mental area is meditation and yoga, relaxation techniques which are connected to strong immune response. But it is the third area, the spiritual effect of the outbreak. This is being neglected. Could you comment on this, on the spiritual effect of the outbreak?
Okay, sorry. I'm also looking at the. Is the isolation period? No, I cannot find the question again.
Yes, this is what I've just read out from Elena Georgiadou. Okay. Yes, and basically, the question is about the spiritual effect of all of us on the outbreak. Could you comment on this, on us as individual human beings and as a society, the spiritual effect, how it affected us in a spiritual way, and what do you think, what is your recommendation for us, what we can do about this?
So I think what I've observed and also personally felt that is that number one is that there's no certainty in life. Nobody has expected this event to happen. In Hong Kong, especially, we've gone through about half a year of protests, and things were actually getting better. And then we were hit with this virus. So everyone was kind of taken, everybody was basically has taken another blow and to have to readjust. So I guess to have the heart and perseverance to maintain a straight face and to keep on. That's to deal with something that is uncertain is a lesson. The second is I feel that we do treasure human contacts a lot more because of this event. So spirituality to me has always been quite an individualistic experience, but what I've seen so far is that groups are coming together, people are coming together to be more spiritual together. Maybe some of you have received the kind of 21-day meditation invitation. So as a group, we can do it over WhatsApp or Telegram or Facebook group. Everyone get together and they go through a 21-day. Every day they meditate or they kind of share and experience that spiritual journey together. So I feel that people are actually longing to become more connected with one another. So that's the second. And then like from a deeper level, it does get you to think, okay, because I think human being, when they feel like they are in closer contact with death, they will come to think deeper on why they exist on this earth. So so we're seeing that people are exploring more what they want to achieve while they are here on earth, or what kind of relationships they want to cultivate with people around them because of this experience. So I think those are the 3 levels of spiritual journey that I have seen or experienced myself.
Thank you very much, Xania. I think I would like to suggest the same technique, because obviously it takes time for ladies to warm up and come up with their questions. So now we have quite a few more. And what I suggest, in order to manage to do a few more, if you could try to be quick with answers, maybe you could make them shorter in order to cover more of them. That would be great. And I will be happy to read them out. Oh gosh, we have quite a few. So ladies, again, I apologize for being selective. It's only maybe just picking up. Can you explain about currency exchange a bit more? What opportunities are there? But please be as quick as you can, so we could ask a few more questions.
Okay, sure. So currency exchange, it depends on which way you're looking at it. I mentioned earlier with blockchain is usually in markets where you cannot get the currency out easily. So then you can use, you can change it into a cryptocurrency. And then once you're in the receiving market, use that cryptocurrency to change back to the currency that you want to be receiving. In a fiat world, so non-crypto, there are different gateway, I guess, payment gateway that, or cross-border gateway that you can use, and there's always a new one coming up with faster, better rates. So that's something to watch for.
Excellent. That was really quick. Another question, which is actually coming from the same lady in two parts, and if I may. Could I possibly make a suggestion, if you can do it, if you can, move the screen away so we could see you better, and then in the final session we could see you better on the main screen. And in the meantime, I will ask. Fantastic. Now we can see you properly. Excellent. So the question, this combined question, specifically about Hong Kong, which is obviously would be very interesting. What are the most innovative and efficient measures applied in Hong Kong to support small businesses, and what are the most, oh, this is the same, I do apologize. Actually, this is the question. No, I made a mistake. Yeah. So what are the most innovative and efficient measures applied in Hong Kong to support small businesses?
I'm not sure about efficiency yet, because they're all starting. I mean, from the government, there's a lot of subsidies including providing subsidies to hire people and not fire people. There is new money injected in the technology field. And so to encourage technology companies hiring interns or junior staff, all the hospitality businesses and retail businesses get a grant or some sort of rent subsidies. So typical things that the government is doing. On the private sector, we're seeing some companies launching accelerator incubation programs to identify new ideas to save the economy, promote health, or find solutions for to combat COVID. For us at JOBDOH, we have a service to help the SMEs hire people now and pay them later. So we have a scheme to help the SMEs hire people without paying us for up to about 7 months. So we work with a government on that.
Thank you very, very much. It's quite an important question, which probably was not possible to answer quicker. I think we have two more as quickly as possible, and then we'll be moving to the next speaker. Another question about Hong Kong. How are you dealing with the second wave of COVID-19 in Hong Kong, businesses and generally on family level?
Business and family level, right?
Yes, correct. Yes.
So on businesses, it has been hit quite a bit because the government has now not a full lockout, but they have stopped all the bars and I guess gym, wellness and beauty businesses from opening. But a lot of businesses are now thinking of, okay, what's the a new way to do new businesses. So restaurants who traditionally serve a lot of people do a lot of new packaging for delivery. Beauty parlors, and now they have on-call, or I guess a home visit. So there are different ways to tackle that. On a family level, the children and parents are engaging a lot more on online learning. So they're looking for new programs to get the children busy and keeping their academic progress on track.
Thank you very much. And the last one, just very quickly. Business sector-wise, which sector would be the fastest recovering in your view?
So I like to, earlier when I mentioned the different industries, the reason I highlight them is that I think there is still, I mean, for sure, there are industries that are growing right now. So I think that if your services or offerings are sector agnostic, you might want to switch to those sectors, to serving those sectors to start. But in terms of recovery, in addition to those sectors, I think that people are longing to meet and to connect. So hospitality businesses will come back out pretty quickly. Flight industry will get back pretty quickly once all the worries are gone. So I think any sectors that actually have human touch, when people are locked up for so long, this is probably the fastest sector that's going to recover.
Thank you very much. That was very encouraging to hear. Thank you so much, Xania. We hope to see you very soon at our live conferences, and we stay in close touch. And now I will remind you to kindly switch off your microphone and your video, and for me to introduce our next speaker. Thank you, Xania. Yes, I welcome you and people who join in the meantime. Olga Balakleits. I will have a pleasure now at presenting our next speaker. And thank you very, very much for joining this afternoon, our second session of the webinar of Creative Women. And now it is my greatest pleasure to invite Dr. Kuiljeit Uppaal from India. She is the first world's image scientist and CEO of Krea. And Kuiljeit is speaking right now from India, and I will be passing her now and putting her on the screen, and see you shortly. Kuiljeit, yes?
Yes, I'm on. Hello,
Fantastic.
everyone.
Fantastic. So I just wanted to make sure that you're here, and can everyone see you and hear you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Olga, for that kind introduction.
A pleasure.
Hello, everyone. And I hope all of you are safe and sound in your respective countries. So if you can give me a second, I shall share my presentation. Okay.
Fantastic. We can see it, Kuiljeit. I can see.
So you all can see it as a slideshow. Just a second. Give me a second, please.
No problem. No problem. Take your time.
All right. So it's a delight to speak to all of you. And it's great that we have this live webinar on. And we are, of course, dealing with the topic, our new reality, present and the future. In this perspective, I would like to share my thoughts on unleashing the true warrior within you. So we all know about the present scenario today, right? After the Second World War, this is probably the worst time that the globe is seen as a collective unit. We're all fighting this novel enemy that we're still learning more about. And we're paying a very big price here. About 184 countries are waging a war against this common enemy. Thousands have died, thousands are suffering, and millions are fighting it every single day. Lakhs of families have lost their loved ones to the virus, and many have lost their jobs. Business owners are wondering what the future holds for them. Economies across the world are on shaky and unknown waters. With this sort of a scenario, that is there right now, it prompts me to ask you one question. And that is this. How do you think your future will look? Do you think that you will be so fragile that you would even be struggling in regular winds? Or do you think you'd be creating your own sunshine even in the severest of storms? In other words, do you want to be a victim or a warrior? In other words, a victor. I think I'm going to preempt your answer because I pretty much know what creative women are all about. I'm sure your answer is the latter. Definitely you want to be the victor. We all understand that you can never be victorious without taking challenges. Time has come to unleash the true warrior within you. Now, who is the true warrior? The true warrior fights bravely in the time of adversity, builds ammunition for the times ahead, and never ever gives up. You are the force of God today for yourself, in any case, and also for the world. So you need to brace yourself and stand like a warrior. Create the indomitable warrior called you for the present and for the future. So obviously we're going to be looking at some attributes that this warrior should have, right? Because we want this warrior to be able to lead from the front, the warrior called you. It reminds me of this little quotation that Emerson once said, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are all tiny matters compared to what lies within us." Isn't it so beautiful? And it's so true. To add to that, Gandhiji said, strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths, isn't it? When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that, my friends, is strength. So I think the time has come when you need to discover the true attributes. The first thing, of course, is inner strength. And we're also looking at your outer power. So like I said, the time has come. Let's amaze ourselves. Amaze yourself with your inner strength and your indomitable outer power. If I tell you that I'm going to now take you to a room of your choice, a beautiful room, okay? You can imagine it the way you want. And I tell you that you're going to see some magical weapons right there. Those weapons that you can pick up and embrace for yourself. The weapons that are going to give you that warrior from within, right? So are you going to be excited about that? I guess you would. So what we're going to do is, based on the attributes that I just shared, the inner strength and the outer power, and the warrior who is going to be leading from the front. He leads from the front, or she leads from the front in such a way that the warrior gets everyone motivated to fight the battle with the victory war cry, if I may say, that says, I am not giving up, no matter what. So here we are, and let us see what are the things that basically we're talking of in terms of attributes. All right, here we go. Are we ready? Gratitude, values, love, patience, encoding, passion, resilience, determination, faith, balance, empathy, focus, harmony, contribution, proactivity, acceptance, self-reflection, commitment, positivity, and fitness. And of course, there are many more. All these magical weapons are going to make you that warrior from within. I'll quickly go past each one of them, and in no specific order. They're all important. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is acceptance. The acceptance of what is happening today, and to humbly accept that this is the true reality. There's no need to fight it, because the fact is that it is true. It is happening around us. Accepting the way things are, and also accepting that we are all people, no doubt, but this larger global family is a part that is together, well-knit and cohesive. It's a cohesive unit that humbly accepts our existence with the vulnerability that we have as human beings. It's good to be vulnerable at times because it brings out a lot of realizations at times. Then let's move on to, let's say, gratitude. I think it's an extremely important aspect today to figure out that we are doing well. First, just look at yourselves. We're all doing well. We are hale and hearty. Our families, our environment, people around us are all there. We're existing. And we should be very grateful for every single blessing that we've had from God. Let's have faith in ourselves. Let's be like that bird that sits on the branch of a tree and doesn't hesitate, doesn't get scared from the branch falling because it has faith on its own wings. That's the kind of faith we have to have in ourselves, because when we have faith in ourselves, this faith will translate to the environment around us, and we will be able to build the community in a much stronger manner. It's time also for self-reflection today. Let's look at ourselves. What are we made up of? Retrospect, introspect, and see what you can do, what you were, what you can be. Are the things that you need to bridge? What are the kind of skills you can hone for yourself so that you grow personally and professionally? I think it's extremely important to self-reflect today. Give love in abundance. I think all of us need to do that for sure. Give love, accept love. Love is the common cord that attaches us all from all across the world. And we have to respect that love is something that is going to bind us together. Have patience. I know we're all stuck in our various lands, and we have the lockdown, and we are within the four walls of our homes. There will be times probably our children are going to get a little, kind of erratic. They may get a little restless, probably even lose their cool sometimes. I think even as mothers or even at our professional fronts, for example, we all need to be very patient, because these times are hard for everybody. And patience will really be very helpful if we imbibe it and embrace it. Another thing that really comes to my mind is resilience, as you can see on your screen. Resilience at this point in time, the power that says, I am not giving up, come what may. We are just not going to give up to this virus. We are going to make sure in a collective way we deal with this. We have to stay positive. We have to, because that's the only option. But regardless, positivity always brings in a great aura in your environment and within yourself. So when you're positive, you're going to be really, really spirited, and you're going to again share that with your environment. My dear friends, values, the values that you hold for yourself, be it whatever, in terms of excellence, integrity, your truth, honesty, discipline, empathy, dignity, purity of mind and soul, be it whatever, embrace it, hold on to it. They are your core foundation. And these are your strongest weapons. Your values will take you a very long way ahead. So hold on to them. Encoding is very important, because more than often what happens is when you're trying to face a challenge, there's a little small voice at the back of your head that says, oh my God, you shouldn't even be trying this out. This is not going to work out. Oh, come on, this is not going to happen. Things are so bad. They're so bleak. The entire scenario is all down and out. Tell that negative committee that sits in your head to shut up and sit down. It's time to ensure that you code yourself positively. If you get that small voice that's creeping up time and again to tell you that, this is not going to happen, just tell it to sit down. You have to encode all your negative thoughts into positive ones at this point in time, because positivity is the way ahead. Be empathetic to people around you, and of course to yourself too, because we know that is the need of the hour at this point in time, love and empathy. As far as commitment is concerned, I think we have to stand by our own word, honor our promises, not just to our families, but also to our families outside professionally. Honor the commitments you may have made to them with full honesty and resolution that we are in it together, and we will continue till the end, the end is a very positive one in any case. So we have to kind of stay here in these moments of adversity and not back out. Contribution. This is the time when the I, me, myself has to get diminished, and the larger spirit of we has to prevail. And I think at this point in time, if we can go forward and contribute in any which way that we can, it's a great way to move forward and make this thing happen, and also energize ourselves as warriors. Be determined to ensure that you are focused. You've all had ambitions. I've had ambitions, so have all of you, right? We can't lose sight of our focus in life. We have those ambitions. They will all happen. It's like we are on that 100 meters run right now. We may have finished 30, 40 meters, and we're somewhere in between. But that doesn't mean we lose sight of it. Stay focused. But only thing is, probably in the way you reach your destination, we might just find a little breeze right now that may be taking us a little to the right and a little to the left. But remember, if you stay focused and determined, we are going to get right there. Harmony, an extremely, extremely important thing at this point in time, to be at peace with yourself and with others in your environment and your larger environment. Have a sense of calm and a serenity in your life at this point in time, with lots of optimism. I think a spiritual connect with God, I think somebody mentioned earlier during Xania's talk about spirituality. It's a great way to kind of stay connected with God and his creation in a spiritual manner. We're all his creation. So I think a spirituality that dawns into the entire holistic angle is great at this point in time. Have a sense of balance in life between your logic and your creativity. That innate sense of balance, which is a combination of your heart and your head in leading your life, looking at the practicality and the rationale with understanding, and also looking at the emotion and the empathy elements. So keep that seesaw in equilibrium. It's very important so that you can see things objectively and in the right perspective. I feel at this point in time, passion is again a very, very important thing, because like they say, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. At this point in time, it's very easy to kind of, think that, oh my God, I'm kind of getting into that negative spiral downwards. But the fact is, if you do certain things that you're really passionate about, even while you're at home, things like singing, dancing, doing painting, playing with your family, exercising, yoga, whatever you want to do, but making sure that your passion is taken care of, it's really going to kind of bring out things in a positive way. It will charge you up a little better. So it's a great way to do that. And of course, no warrior can succeed successfully without being fit. So I think it's extremely important to ensure that you eat well, have a good diet, ensure whatever exercises you want to do, you do. You want to breathe properly, do yoga, do planks, do whatever, whether it's aerobics, whether it's dancing, any which way, but stay fit, because we have a long race ahead, right? So we have to stay fit. And of course, nothing is going to happen until you take a forward movement. Unless you take a step forward, be proactive and do something about this, and you will move forward very successfully like a warrior. I want to also bring one element here. Now, I've spoken of various attributes with regard to the inner strength and the outer power, and these will help you to not only to manage yourself, but also to galvanize your team. If you have presumably 10 units of all of these elements, all of these attributes, I would recommend at this point in time, make those 1,000 units. This is your ammunition, my friends. You have to build yourself like a warrior. Remember that. Now, the good news is that adversity makes you discover your inner strength and also brings about creativity. So when we are in a family, for example, and we are encountered with a problem, what do? Everybody from the family comes together, and that's when we start brainstorming. We search for solutions together, don't we? Similarly, as a business owner, your workforce is your family. So we are in the midst of challenges. So the best thing to do is probably get your family to put the heads together and come and decide together on how to deal with this situation in the best way, because that probably will help you to have more heads and think of more workable solutions. You will reinstate your faith in your workforce, like I mentioned earlier. Try and hold on to your workforce. It's hard for everyone, not just for ourselves. And we do know that the law of reciprocity is very innate. Today you do a kind act, it will never be forgotten. It will be responded to in a very constructive and beautiful manner. If not in the same way, probably much more. And also for some, probably job is not just about earning an income, it's also sometimes dignity and self-respect. So maybe we want to think about that too. It's a good way probably to get your team to say, okay, how can we get the expenses together? Let's figure out solutions. How do we make this work? Bring in a lot of patience and resilience when we are dealing with situations with your workforce. Remember, it's like, let's say your lean period in business. So view it like that phase. We know this phase is just an interim one and we will go past it. It's probably a good time to relook at your company or your organization, discuss how you've been performing as a company, And if you've been a walkabout CEO, it's a good time to be a digital walkabout CEO. Build a WhatsApp group or a FaceTime group, whatever, and have open talks. Connect with your people. Maybe you've not had the time to do that earlier. It's a great way to be able to talk to your departments, talk to them about what are the areas where you still continue doing some work on, or, work on innovations, work on new products, build new structures, processes that could enhance your productivity. And of course, finally, your revenue. Solutions will emerge. Just be open and transparent. Speak to them like you're speaking as a family, an open-knit family, and the boat will sail safely. The good thing here is, for all the business owners, there's nothing to really be scared about. What's the worst come worse, right? We have created, firstly, whatever we have today. We can always do it again because we have the skill and potential. And I don't mean to say that this is going to go down. No, it's not. But there's nothing to fear. What I'm trying to say is, when you're a warrior, there has to be no fear. You have to ensure that whatever you have is the best you have, and you can only get better. And even if things go a little shaky, remember, you have the skill and potential to make it come around. So don't dampen your spirit or lose your faith. Like I said, that bird story, remember, have faith in your wings. As a warrior, you are a leader. You are a team player. You are also a strategist. And most importantly, a physically and emotionally robust titan. You need to right now, of course, define your goals and outcomes and have the focus there and go one day at a time. Maybe it's a great way to kind of balance your macro steps and your micro steps, because change management is the order of the day today. Ensure that you have your team up and about in terms of morale and spirit. There should be no compromise on their mental, physical, and emotional safety. In the middle of all of that, we need to be very flexible, very humble, and of course, extremely empathetic. We need to have a mindset that is going to only talk the word success. Friends, nature is rebooting itself. Probably we should too. I want to leave you with some thoughts here. Gandhiji said, if I have the belief that I can do it, I shall surely acquire the capacity to do it, even if I may not have it at the beginning. Isabel says, we all have an unsuspected reserve of strength inside that emerges when life puts us to the test. This is the time, my friends, for you to create positive affirmations. Create your warrior affirmation. You have to project internally yourself as a powerhouse of strength, of resilience, of love, care, commitment. This is you, the warrior. And you have to understand that being brave is not absence of fear, but rather the strength of going on forward despite the fear. So don't fear anything. And you will never, in any case, know how strong you are until, of course, being strong is the only option you have, right? The task ahead of you is never greater than the strength within you. So friends, brace yourself and unleash the true warrior from within.
Bravo, bravo, Kuiljeit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your passion.
Take some questions.
Absolutely, and more questions coming now, with lots of congratulations and appreciation of your powerful, emotional speech presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you from my heart, and I'm sure all the ladies and gentlemen joining me.
Thank you.
I'm starting now with some questions, and I will be reading them out. Right, okay. I started with a question from a lovely, wonderful lady from Oman in Muscat. What if you are isolated on your own, like some people, and you don't have the resources for it, and no job anymore?
What?
And
sorry, Olga, I'm sorry, I missed the second word you said. What other?
What if you're isolated on your own, like some people, and don't have any resources, any jobs anymore, and no money?
Okay, so like I mentioned probably in my presentation, you know, the greatest asset we all have is this thing called the brain and this thing called the heart. And when these two kind of conjunct together, we come up with brilliant ideas. I think the money is created after that. I, for one, can speak for myself, and I think it probably could translate for a lot of people who probably have the fear of, oh my God, what's going to happen because I'm not going to make that sort of money. But like I shared, as I said in the presentation, that if you do have the spirit to hang on there, to be the warrior, like I said, and determine proactively what are the ways that you can kind of meander around the right ways to do business at this point in time, keeping in mind the scenario and the changing dynamic times, I think it won't be long before you will be able to brace that situation very fast. I think at this point in time, the people who might face a supposed failure, if I may say, are the ones who are going to be rigid in their approach. I think with the dynamism, we have to be dynamic in our mind. So start searching for solutions. Preempt what you can do to be able to meander. And I can give you my example, for example. I'm into learning and development, right? I do a lot of live sessions, actually going to the client's place and dealing with universities, talking to thousands of students and faculty across. I'm already thinking of going online because I know that this is probably the safest thing to do and the most sensible thing to do. So I think other than just thinking and brainstorming by myself, it would make a lot of sense if I brainstorm or have thought showers with my team. Because I'm talking of one idea, I can probably have many more ideas coming my way when I have a kind of interaction and have a lot of ideas that come. So I think it's a good thing at this point in time to kind of connect with people you know. We all have a network. Reach out to people, create a mastermind group, and have people who can criticize as well as mentor you. And I think it won't be long before we will start being able to sort out how we want to have our way ahead. Have I answered the question?
You have indeed. Thank you very much. We are moving to the next question.
Yeah.
Dr. Kuiljeit, this is regarding warrior within you. Two questions. One is curious about the success of the 21-day home lockdown in India. And the second question, your perspective on growth mindsets now, indeed, to fully digitalize, feel that the digitalization compromises creativity and authenticity.
Okay, so as far as the India scenario is concerned, I must applaud our government because I think our Prime Minister kind of preempted the stages and we got into lockdown much earlier than what we thought we would. So I'm very happy on that. But I think the way the numbers have been soaring, and we're now over about 6,000, numbers are soaring. And there is now this whole talk about extending lockdown, which I think is being supported, largely speaking, by many states. And in fact, some of the states, I think if I'm not mistaken, about 8-9 states have already said, yes, we are looking at extending the lockdown. So I think there is a lot of rationale in that. And as much as there will always be a section of society that is going to question, oh my God, we're going to get bored at home and things like that. But keeping in mind the larger perspective, I think we are going to probably be looking at extended lockdown beyond 21 days. And it's being welcomed with very open hearts, because at the end of the day, the country wants to see us coronavirus free. And I think that's what's going to happen. And yeah, as far as the second question is concerned, yes, I completely agree. I am so, shall I say, so full with creativity in my DNA that I understand that question perfectly. And I understand that this was also my fear and still continues to be a part of my fear because I haven't totally come up with a solution for myself. But I think, whenever new technology has come, I have seen, and probably all of us have witnessed this across, there is always a phase, a transition when the mind gets rattled and you are wondering, how are you going to be figuring this out? Maybe we don't have all the answers now, but I think as times go by, we will probably get some answers. What it would involve is probably thinking a little harder. And I know that at some point in time, the way she said authenticity as well as creativity, and I understand whoever's asked this question, that she is pretty much resounding with what internally I've gone through myself, because I'm like, as an image scientist, I want to be right there, hands-on for a person when I'm, kind of consulting with that person and I'm kind of giving my little 2 words about how to improve on your image and all of that. So I just feel, oh my God, how am I going to do that? Because now this person is not sitting right across me. And I understand that. But I'm still dealing with that. I have tried already getting onto a digital mode, for example. In a similar manner, I think all of us need to figure out, even keeping in mind the creativity angle intact and the authenticity. You know, sometimes I think we also make this mistake of wanting to be perfect in everything because we get used to it. We have got a system and that worked perfectly well for us. Maybe at this point in time, we need to kind of, in this transition, understand that it's okay not to be totally perfect. It's okay to be at a 90% or a 95% till the time it kind of builds into a maturity model when we might just get around there again. I'm sure that will happen. I am sure that will happen. But while we are struggling with this transition, it's okay to compromise in our mind, saying that, okay, fine, you know, I may not be authentic or I may not be creative at the 100% that I always was, but it's okay because I understand and the person who perceives me also understands. These are trying times. These are times when we are engaging with transitions. We will come around, but I'm sure it will happen eventually.
Thank you so much, Kuiljeit. Dr. Kuiljeit. I will pick up 2 more questions with your permission, and then I think we will be moving to the next presentation. What about image management? How to create online and offline image of companies during this crisis? What tools to use to promote not only social media and corporate ads, advertisement?
Okay, so image management. In fact, I love this question. This is directly connected with me. All right, so interestingly, I wrote a research paper, I think in 2015 or 16, I'm forgetting, which was on digital prim. Prim is my subject, okay, persona and image management. So the entire structure that I've created, and I really would probably, I think it's Anton who has asked this question. So maybe I'd encourage Anton to read my
it's
paper.
A question from a man.
Yeah, I'd encourage her to read this paper on digital prim, where I've spoken of how we can go digital. You know, how entire image management can go digital based on some, of course, technology. So it's not going to get a hit for sure. And in fact, I think it's also prompting me probably to kind of take the next version of that paper to the current times and make sure that probably I'm able to deliver through that paper ways to people like Anton or people who probably may be wanting to benefit out of this. What can be done in terms of actual online and offline way of management of companies. So having said that, digital prim has actually addressed that in terms of both the processes where you engage with people offline first and then also manage their online entities. You have so many tools today. You have an abundance of tools that you can look at. I think anything and everything works. Somewhere down the line, whether it's a Twitter or it's even you know, your Facebook or your Instagram or just pretty much anything that you're on, every single thing can be made into an extremely strong weapon to be used for image of that company or for individuals for that matter. There are a lot of people who are doing personal branding, so it's great to use that. And in any case, when I talk of a company, I'm not talking of brick and cement, right? We're talking of people here. So imagine every single individual being able to use digital prim and use every single aspect of social media to be able to engage and create that particular set of you know, things that he wants to project. I think most of us do not realize what image truly is. And just a little word on that, if you don't mind. I would just, Olga, with your permission, just take a sentence or two, say a sentence or two on that. So image is not about what a perceiver just sees. Image is you in entirety, the entire thing about you, which means what you are internally, in terms of your values, in terms of what you think, you believe, how you react because of what you think and you believe, how you respond to people, and of course, how you're perceived by people. So it's a lot of things put together. So when we're talking of dealing with image management, we're talking about this in entirety, the entire way of how you appear, not in clothes, but you as a brand, you as an entity. So I think it's extremely important to understand, keeping that in mind, what kind of social media tools, what kind of engagements you can make, ensuring that the message you want to make to the persons who are perceivers here are the right messages you're making. So I think many of us sometimes probably make the wrong choices in terms of what are the social media we need to use. So I think here you need to do a little back-end study. Maybe you can talk to people that you've outsourced with, the entire social media part, and engage with them and ask them, what are the best things I can do in terms of the impression I want to make on people or the image I want to make. But largely speaking, I'd say every tool pretty much works. Every tool. And we know that every tool has its own organic growth. So you can't expect, things to happen overnight. There's a gestation, but you can always start today. Even if you've not had a good beginning, you can always start right now.
Thank you very much. And the very last question will be, what do we do when we lose hope, focus, and belief in ourselves? Things are getting so tough and unfair. As we know, what is your comment on this?
Okay. The first thing that comes to my mind is what I tell myself: never say, never die. All right, never, never, never. So for me, I always have this big smile on my face. And I think when you smile, it's natural you energize yourself. So first thing is be positive on your own. Because if you're not going to do that, it's not helping anyone. Leave alone yourself. It's not helping even the environment. I know times are hard, but if you tell yourself that this is only a passing phase, we are in a dark tunnel at this point in time, but far away somewhere, we are seeing some light right there. And we have to stay focused on that light. It's just a matter of time. Hang in there. Everything will be fine. You have to say it with full conviction. Like I said, build your warrior statement. Affirm that, yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I'm going to be a true contributor right here to my family, to the people around me, whether personally or professionally. I think this will happen. If we lose hope, remember, we are doing a lot of damage to ourselves and people around us. So we can't even get that. We just can't even get that. We just have to be very, very happy and accept the way things are and just keep moving forward every single day in a very resilient manner.
Thank you so, so much. And of course, this answer and encouragement coming from the lady, the first pilot, female pilot in India. Some of our audience haven't realized that, but I'm very happy to remind and let them know.
Thank you.
You have many achievements.
In the aviation jargon, Olga, get ready for takeoff.
Exactly.
You're just right now in the warm-up. You're taxing your way. There may be winds, crosswinds of various kinds. Get ready because it's not far away, believe me. Get yourself sorted, build up your ammunition, get ready to be that warrior and take off. Your power takeoff is due. So just do it.
Thank you so, so much for your enthusiasm, for your energy, your passion. Thank you for your wonderful presentation, answering questions. And please do not forget now to switch off your camera and your microphone. And then I will be introducing our next speaker. Thank you very much, Dr. Kuiljeit Uppaal. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Olga. Thank you so much. And everybody stay blessed. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. I'm back with you. Creative Women is having its webinar. And it's a great pleasure for me now to introduce our next speaker today, who is Dr. Viola Edward. She's transcultural psychotherapist and author, and she's a specialist of breathing, and she's a lead trainer. Today, in our current situation and with current problems, breathing is more important, as you know, as anything else. Viola is a special person to Creative Women. Not only she was a speaker on so many occasions, she is a very important member of our board and advisor, and she's a very close friend, and I treasure our special relation and cooperation. So it's with the greatest pleasure I will be passing you to Viola, and I will be asking her to put on her camera and her microphone. Yes, very good.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, I can hear you. I can see you very well. And we're going to check with the panelists, with the audience to make sure that they can see you too. Let us just check. I think yes, we are all fine. And I will be switching off now microphone. And I'm reminding everyone at the end of the presentation, Viola will be happy to answer your questions. And Viola is joined, we can see on the screen, by the lovely sister Leila. We can see. Yes.
Always helping me, always.
Of course, wonderful. And I presume that you are looking for your presentation now, yes?
I'm looking for my presentation now.
Fantastic. Are you ready with your presentation?
Yeah, can you see me and my presentation?
We can see you, but we can't see your presentation. And I believe that if you put your presentation, then we should see you only in a small window.
Okay, bear with me there.
Yes, of course, no problem, yes.
We just need to find the place where we can say share it.
Okay.
Yes, and then we should see the presentation on the main screen, and then we'll have you in a small window.
Okay, so meanwhile, I'm doing all this. I have to tell you some stories. First of all, I thank dearly all the team of Creative Women, especially Alexandra, that has been with me all the way through.
I can't agree more. Yes.
Yes. Now, what is important in this situation when something doesn't come as we want it to come is to be able to breathe. So let's all of us do some breathing, because this is my profession, and because I'm quite dyslexic with some things, so I'm usually challenged with technology. So let's all breathe, and we're gonna do it in a very special way, which is to manage situation of stress or confusion. And what we're gonna do is breathe counting 4, hold counting 4, exhale counting 4, and hold counting 4. Shall we do? Meanwhile, we go into this presentation. Okay, let's start. I'm counting. And now hold and count. 3, 2, 1, and exhale. 3, 2, 1, and hold. 3, 2, 1. Are you there with me?
Yes, we're all here.
And can you see my presentation now?
No, not yet.
Yes, something appeared on the screen, absolutely. But I think when you will start, we'll see the images.
Okay, because it's stop share, so it's sharing. Okay, so let me know whenever you see the presentation that I have here with some photos with Olga.
Thank you very much.
No? Okay, very good.
We can't see it yet.
Okay, so what I want to talk with you today, following what Dr. Anna Belova talked to us, what Xania shared with us so dynamically, and what our dear friend Kuiljeit shared, is at the end and at the beginning and in all of it is how we can be present in every situation, how we can be here and now in every situation. And there is many studies who show us how it is that in a situation of uncertainty and confusion, who are the ones who make it? Are those people who knows more? Are the people who are more educated? Are the people who have more money? Are the people who? And we find out that the people who are more able to manage changes and to have the capacity to adapt to changes. That's one of the characteristics. And the other characteristic is people who have grit. So there is some studies, especially from Dr. Angela Duckworth, who make a lot of studies in children and who are the children who make it through their life. And she come out with this word called grit. Now, when I was doing my new business and we come with the name, we didn't come with it because of the grit as grit. We come with it because we wanted to talk about growth from the own resources, and we wanted to bring the breath into it, which is inspire, and also what include transformation. But then we find that bring this word that is grit, beautiful. So the grit is like this inner force, is the drive, is the passion, is what make people to do something, and also is related for me with this intrinsic motivation that all of us we have in. As a business consultant, many times in businesses, people tell me, my boss doesn't motivate me, or maybe in some families or counseling, people said, my husband or my wife, my spouse, my partner, they don't motivate me. And I always say motivation is the inner impulse that all we have inside. We are the one who light it up or down. Maybe they can influence us a little bit, but actually is inside of us. So what I want to talk with you today is about, in this time of uncertainty, how we're going to deal with it, and how we can lit up our grit and our intrinsic motivation. Also, I want to remind you about, I know many of us, we have goals in life and how to achieve them despite this situation we are living in. I want to encourage you to use your resources, even though sometimes you feel stuck and unsure in what direction to take in this time of uncertainty. As my colleague said before, that tangible result can be seen when tangible and practices and actions are made also we are now at home. And that is always marvelous, always to learn from the situation and to give back. I remember one of my dearest teachers, and somebody I studied for many years, Dr. Viktor Frankl, that he said that the way how he survived to the Holocaust was mainly for three major reasons. One is how to survive, two is how to learn from the situation, and three, how we can help others. So as coaches, as mentors, as therapists, as consultants, this is what is our duty in this situation. How we can survive to the situation, how we can learn from it and adapt and move into the new field that life proposed to us, and how we can help others in the process. And this is what I want to share with you about grit. So grit is, the G is for grow, the R is for resource, the I is for inspire, and the T is for transform. So what we're going to do now, and how to get the most of this session. If you are multitasking as I am, as some of you know me, take a deep breath just now and try to keep your telephone aside, switch it off if you can. And at the end of this session, I will be answering your question as all my colleagues did with the help of Olga. In this time that is coming, I'm gonna give you my full presence, and I want to show you through my modeling that doesn't matter what is the situation, we can, if we connect with the breath, if we connect with this precise moment, we can manage to go to the difficulties. So, for me, as a personal advisor, thank you, Olga, for introducing me in such a beautiful way. And also as a breathwork mentoring trainer since early 90s, I have been an international speaker, and by now I have 10 books published, I think 10, 2 totally mine, and another 8, which I'm the co-author. And also I sit in different boards, and I'm an ambassador for human rights and women equity in different parts of the world. So I would say, as a person who started my life in a quite struggling way and have to stop schooling when I was at the age of 13, when we emigrated from Lebanon to Venezuela just before the Lebanese war, and never again we could come back. And it was my second experience that I leave a country and never again I can go back. So I can understand how is the feeling for many of you that maybe didn't have experiences like this before. So what I mean is that this uncertainty now in this time of the corona, for me, still like I'm in between this emotion and the feeling of, yes, I'm in a situation that I didn't decide, but I'm safe. Here I am talking to you, sharing with you, and I've been for hours now listening to my colleague. I have a meal, 2 or 3 in a day. I have hot showers, and I sleep in my bed, and I'm in a country that have good weather. And it's true that we're enclosed, but for some reason, I'm very grateful that is in a situation that is not a war and is not an outside confusion. So maybe for this and for all what I have lived before in my life, you see me in different webinar and different interview, and I'm smiling and following our dear friend Kuiljeit. So every morning I well dressed and with my accessories, and how you know me, I'm ready for the day, because I'm so grateful that even though it is a difficult situation, we are at peace. And every day, my prayer and my thought are for those people who are away from their home and don't have the minimum security that we have. So, as I stopped schooling at the age of 13, my salvation, because I'm a book girl, has been the alternative education. And this is what I do nowadays. I offer the world and whoever want to be in my programs and accompany me, the alternative education in different way. So in my presentation, I have some testimonial, but through those years, since 1993 that I have my own businesses to now, obviously I have touched different life, and I'm very proud of messages that I receive from the world. And I want to tell you that if you are feeling now stuck or lost in the grief of the momentum that we are going through, or if you feel that you have accumulated a lot of knowledge, but how can you use it in this time of challenge? Or if you have helped a lot of people, but now, because of the challenge and the economical challenge, you find out that how I'm gonna get my help, how I'm gonna sustain myself in this time. So also this program is for you. So, you know that theory alone is not enough. I know most of us, we read a lot and we hear a lot of studies online, and we watch a lot of videos. So we do need constant, measurable, and if possible, effortless practice is the key. Developing lasting habits is what's gonna help us in time of serenity and security, but also in time of confusion and uncertainty. So let's see, in my life and in many of my client life, I can see that this most common mistake that people, that we do is self-love. Like sometimes it's the lack of the self-love and the trust on the self that make that all what we know so far is not working for us. Another thing is the focus, is lack of focus and direction that can happen in some moment of life, especially when we have different interests in life. But I feel that one of the major things that had affected my life in the past, and I can see how it continue affecting the life of a lot of talented people if this mindset of being victim. The mindset of victimhood is what detain us. And imagine in a situation like this, that where all of us, we are losing something. That without counting already that in myself, tomorrow it will be 1 month that I'm inside the home without going out, is 1 month of this virus going around the world, is getting closer and closer, where we are knowing and hearing about friends and cousins and people closer to us who are getting affected in their health. So if we still have the victim mindset, this situation is going to make it higher and higher and will paralyze us. So our self-esteem is directly related of the mindset. For that, it's very important that you work in releasing victimacy and releasing defense mechanism. Yes. Very good. So what is the solution then? The solution is, we know that we cannot change the situation, what we're going through now, and we cannot change our past, but as we know, we can change the way how we react to it. So this program, we have, my sister and I, we have created together, and we name it The Grid, is to be proactive and find a way how to be a key part of our destiny. To be able to breathe, to be breathing the life that we deserve in every moment. So the grid, as I said before, is grow using your own resources to be able to get inspired to live every day in the best way possible, and also to inspire others to go into their transformation as you went into yours. Very good. Shall we take all a deep breath now? So when I tell you let's take a deep breath, you see I didn't count, because each one of us have different set, different way, different condition in your physical body and in your emotion and in your feelings. In my case, I used to be a chain smoker. I know many of you know my story, and I used to drink quite a lot, and I'm going to mention only these two of my addictions. Not because of shyness, it's because of the time restriction today. So the fact that I have healed from this addiction and went into recovery process, thanks to all the mentors and therapy I have had in my life, and thanks to these beautiful meetings with the conscious connected breathing, doesn't mean that I'm totally safe from the damage I have done. For example, in my lungs, I managed to stop the damage, but I have one of my lungs, the left lung, who's quite affected by the quantity of cigarette I had smoked during many, many years. So maybe when you see me breathing beside my husband, who has been an athlete all his life and never smoked, and even though both of us, we are breath worker, you will see the clarity of how the capacity of our breathing is different, apart from the gender difference, of course. For that, when I tell you, please take a deep breath, I'm not counting. Because when I'm mentioning deep breath is how you breathe normally, little bit deeper. Always in a gentle and kind way that is not hurting. And in the way how you inhale, use always your nose to inhale, unless you're ill or blocked or damaged. So we're gonna inhale. And then in the exhalation, try not to push it out at once, because many times when people are stressed or anxious and they push the exhale, that can create a little bit more anxiety. So get the exhale, go slowly and gently out. And exhale from the nose too. I know that many of us, we have quite dysfunctional breathing habits. I know when I'm with a big group of people and I said, let's take a breath, more than the half of the people take it from their mouths. So I know when we're talking, we're eating, we're singing, we have, or playing the flute, we have to breathe from the mouth, but try to use more and more the nose to have more of a functional breathing. Because it's very important that the breathing will accompany the alignment that we have with our thought, with our feeling, with our dream, with our behavior. So I would say that alignment and well-being is when we have this balance. Okay, we're not perfect, we're human beings, but to avoid as much as possible, if not, we have to go to mentoring and therapy, the zigzag between what I dream, what I want, what I do, what I say, how I breathe, and how I behave. Imagine if that come more into an alignment. Imagine if you develop awareness and emotional efficiency. So it's beautiful to talk about emotional efficiency because you will lose less energy and you will become more efficient in your daily life. And also, you will lose less people, or you will not lose people, because when we don't have emotional efficiency, usually we burst in the wrong person, or we hold in the wrong moment, or we don't know to whom to express that feeling that is happening now. When we're talking about feeling, and you know, we know now a lot about EQ, not only about IQ, we know about EQ, is that there is, a friend of mine said that in the Spanish language, there is 1,000 words that express different feelings. And imagine, we know very few of them, but imagine if every day you learn a little bit more. Now, we talk about IQ, EQ, and we just created the BQ, the breath intelligence. Imagine if you will have an instrument, a way, without any instrument, that you can measure how is your breath intelligent and how you can improve it and learn more and expand it. So as a gift, I'm gonna send you the document about breath intelligence through Creative Women platform, and hopefully we'll have it for you in the website so you can access it anytime you want, because this is very important in this time that we are living, where it seems that, of course, we are systemic, and any part of the body that is hurting, it will affect the other part, but it seems that is our lung, that the one who's asking for more attention. And if Laila will be more engaged with me here as a traditional Chinese doctor, she will tell us how the lungs hold pain, grief, and loss. So I'm telling you that because it's very important in this moment. As Xania remind us, as Dr. Anna remind us, please don't stay stagnated in the loss and the grief, because that will weaken also your system. So get the resilience that Dr. Kuiljeit was telling us about. Put yourself as much as possible together and keep the breath going, so you will deal with whatever feeling of loss and grief that all of us we have. All of us, we are losing something. All of us, our life has changed. So grit is about this awareness, and emotional efficiency is about your growth, how you're gonna grow and inspire others. It's about transformation to your own success. And in our grit, we have created 4 grit B's. And this is grit breath, grit brain, grit belief, and grit body, that we hopefully will have more time to talk about them. So let's take another breath, and I'm gonna drink some water.
We are taking a breath with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
So even though I didn't talk with my friend Xenia before, and with Dr. Anna Belova, I did when we heard, when all this situation caught us. I was coming from Cairo to London, and then from London to Cyprus, and thankfully arrived 2 days before the airport were closed. my sister and I, we were creating a program called The Grid, and it will, you know, as we are creative women, and as you know, women have the tendency to be creative and also perfectionist, to have all the beauty and the details. When this situation came, what we did is quickly transform our work, that it has a lot of personal attention, quickly transform it to be online attention. Now, our quality, our resource, and the thing that we shine more is in the way how we give and how we hold the space. For that, we understood very quickly that even though we're going online, we want to go live and online. We want people to see us. We want to engage with people, because this is called social distancing. I think it's just physical distancing, because as a relational person, one of my major capital is being relational. I think we have to keep the connection and the relation, even though physically we are now a little bit distant. For that, our program Grid is online, but is live online. So we will have the way how to interact, how to share, and how to be present, each one to the others. So we have these groups that minimum is 6 and maximum are around 12 or 13. And is about how we're gonna manage to support you and support yourself, utilizing our resources to get into a success with the existing possibility that we have now, and how we can expand. Is a method to unleash your inspiration and reach your potential, and is we find a way that is reachable, is measurable, is simple, but at the same time is profound, as I like to work. So that can impact your life and the life of others. So what is my desire is to leave a legacy. I thought I'm gonna launch it a little bit later, but it's done now, and we are in our second group already, is to, in this time of uncertainty, in this time that people are measuring their resources, their money, their time in a very cautious way. So we created a program that all of you can achieve, all of you can reach. So this program is in two parts. One part is we're gonna call to be a great star, and it's like 7 sessions. Each session is 2 hours online, interactive, where we're gonna be focusing totally on you. Because what I understand from my own process, and now I'm 61, and I'm in love with psychology since I have consciousness, but I remember one of my first books was when I was 11. I understand that unless we arrange and we fix the first communication, the first relationship that is the most important, is between me and me, and here I'm gonna call this intrapersonal relation, it's gonna be difficult, my relations with others. So this first part of the program is about me and me, is about you and you. And it's about working with your thought, working with your resources, working with your dream and your desire, your dream, not the one that you have ask others or somebody else ask you to have. Or we always laugh about a dream I had many years ago when I was in my 30s. And I used to repeat many times, I want a sabbatic year, to be sailing in the ocean by myself. Now, in that time, I even didn't know how to swim. And as you know me, actually, I'm not a person to be by myself for a long time. But for some reason, maybe some of the boyfriend or somebody that I look up to, or somebody who had that dream, and kind of I copied that dream, and I used to repeat it so much that one day a friend of mine came to me and he said, I have heard you so many times that you have that dream, and you know, I have a similar dream. And my wife, who cannot sail, told me that you're the only woman that she can trust that who can sail with me. So let's go and try our six months sailing alone and have this sabbatic, not 1 year and 6 months. Thanks heaven, by that time, I have started my self-development program and I knew more about myself. So I managed to say no on time, because I could have found myself in a dream that didn't belong to me. Because I want to tell you, I am a very powerful person, as you know, and I can manifest what I want. So it's very important to know what is it that I want, because I can manifest something that I don't want. And this program is about that. It's about how to be sustainable, how to recycle, how to regenerate, how to use your resources in the best way.
Dearest Viola, thank you so much. We are running out of time, sadly. It's so wonderful.
I'm gonna finish, give me another 3 minutes. And then we have the second part of the program that you're gonna become, where we're gonna teach you how to become a great coach, to be able to give that first program I talk about. And all that, it's called the Great Academy.co. So thank you very much for this time. I'm ready for your questions.
I think we are going to have just one question. Thank you so much, dearest Viola. Again, we have many comments saying thank you very much, how useful and enjoyable your speech was. And of course, we are going to, from Creative Women, we are going to make sure that all the participants and all our network will know more about what you do, about your programs, and they could join you whenever they are ready. So one question would be how breathing affects neurology diseases, mental disorders, and movement disorders. Can you comment on this? But we have literally, if you can answer and make comments to some, that would be fantastic. And we have very limited time because our next speaker is already has been waiting for some time. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. So I have short time to answer that, but it will be my pleasure to answer you through Creative Women platform. What can I tell you is that when we were kids and we start having connection with the emotion, the limiting emotion, fear, anger, sadness, we stop our breath. And as we stop our breath, we had certain sensation, feeling, and we store that in the body. As we grow, this sensation and that habit become dysfunctional habit. So when you learn how to be conscious about your breathing, first of all, your position gonna get better because you're not like this, you're like that. And also your brain will get more oxygenation. Your skin gonna improve. Your organs gonna be nurtured by the food that they long most, which is oxygenation. And your possibility in life will be, instead of like this, an action and a reaction, as you breathe, you're gonna have infinite possibility in life, even though sometimes it seems not the one that you want. So conscious connected breathing will connect you with the possibility of life, because while you breathe, you're alive, and when you're alive, you have possibilities.
Thank you so, so much again for your presentation, for your knowledge, for your warmth and passion and dedication to Creative Women. We will be waiting for our many next meetings virtually and of course live. Thank you again. And I will be now asking you to switch off your video and your microphone, and we'll be, thank you. Yes, and I'm back on the screen. We all enjoyed all our presentations so far. And as you know, our speakers have been joining us from all around the world, starting in Moscow, going to Hong Kong, going to India, going to Cyprus. And now our final speaker today, who did not take part in the live conference of Creative Women before, but was going to take part in a conference in London. And she will be joining us at our next live conference in London. And now we have a pleasure of welcoming her virtually here during our webinar. It is Wendy Ellin from USA, from Atlanta, and she is a workplace productivity strategist, which is going to be very useful because, of course, for many of us finding ourselves in such a self-isolation around the world, our homes become workplace. And Wendy will be telling you how to deal the best with this. So enjoy it. And please, Wendy, say hello to us.
Hello, y'all.
Fantastic, fantastic. And yes, I will be disappearing now, and we can see you. Yes, very well. We can hear you. So please do start, Wendy, and we look forward to your presentation now. And are you okay with your PowerPoint presentation? Yes, we can see. We can see this. Yes, fantastic. Yes, I can see slides now. Good.
Coming up there.
Great. Yes, we can have it on the screen. Please do start. And I remind you, all, please do ask Wendy your questions at the end of her presentation, and I will be happily reading them out. Enjoy.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I've been waiting all morning for this. Really, really so delighted to be amongst these esteemed speakers from all over the world. I'm really, really just so pleasured that you invited me to be a part of this. So I'm going to open by sharing a story with you, a true story about my lovely 96-year-old mother-in-law. Okay, so I live in Atlanta, Georgia, which is one of the southern states in the United States, and my mother-in-law has only lived in Baltimore, Maryland, which is close to Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, for 96 years. She's never lived anywhere else. And we always knew that when she needed to move to assisted living, she was going to have to move down south where we live. Now, let me just say this. I'm not a Southerner, as you can hear. I actually was born and raised in New York, but I've been living in Atlanta, Georgia now for the past 40-something years. So my mother-in-law is now living 15 minutes from me, which is always a big challenge. While I love my mother-in-law dearly, let's just say I wouldn't have chosen her to be my mother-in-law, but it is what it is. So here she is. She's now local. And my husband and I, Marty, go to visit her at least every week to see how she's doing. And I always bring her fresh flowers. I love fresh flowers, as you can see from the fresh flowers sitting behind me. And I am always, I always stop and get her flowers and whatever food she needs at the grocery store. So a couple of months ago, we go to visit her, our usual weekend visit, and we get groceries for her and we get flowers for her. And we go over to her apartment and we're visiting, and I can hear her scream to me from the other room, "Wendy, darling, how much do I owe you?" And I say to her, "You know, Mom, you don't owe me anything. It's really okay. I'm fine to buy your groceries for you." And she says, "No, I am not going to let you continue to shop for me if you don't let me pay you." So I said, "Fine." And I walk in the living room and she says, I said, "Fine, it's $20. So she hands me this wad of money, like a bank envelope, and I eke out a $20 bill and I hand the money back to her, and we continue to visit. And we leave about 20 minutes later, and we get home to our house 15 minutes away, and my husband's phone rings. Now, I always know it's my mother-in-law on the phone, because as Marty's talking, he is walking out the door with the phone because he's getting ready to scream at her because she can't hear. And this is what I hear him saying: "Mom, Wendy did not take all your money." Okay, and then a couple of seconds later, he gets a little bit louder, and he says, "Mom, Wendy did not take all your money." And I go outside and I'm like, "What is that about?" He said, "She cannot find that envelope that you gave back to her, and she thinks you took all her money." And I'm like, "Of course she thinks that, right? The minute an old person loses their earring, somebody took it." So of course rolled my eyes like I always do when it comes to my mother-in-law. And it's only 15 minutes later that she calls back and she says to Marty, "Oh my God, I feel so bad. I accused Wendy of taking my money." And when my mother-in-law says, "Really, Mom, did you find your money?" And she says, "Yes." And my mother-in-law says, "Where'd you find the money?" My mother-in-law literally says to Marty, "Oh, darling, my money was under my mess." Now, I'm going to cut my 96-year-old mother-in-law some slack for having her money under her mess. But I'm going to ask all of you on this call, what's hiding under yours? And more importantly, what is your disorganization costing you? I want you to think about that, and not just in money. What's it costing you in time? What's it costing you in relationships? What's it costing you in sleep? What's it costing you in so much more? So this issue of organization affects every single aspect of your life, hands down. And right now, more than any time in the world, is an opportunity. You know, I heard about all these fabulous speakers today talking about how you could be totally stuck in your grief and stuck in your loss, and, you know, feeling like a victim, and all these things that I know we're all experiencing. We're going in and out of the waves of emotion through this experience. But here's my question: where's the opportunity? Because I see this as the biggest opportunity for the world to clean up their mess. So how you do anything is how you do everything. I was actually talking to a client yesterday about another client who was not responsive. And I said to this person, you know what? I don't take it personally that this person hasn't responded to me. That's just who they are in the world, because how they do anything is how they do everything. They're not picking me out of all the people they relate to in their life and just not responding to me. If you're not responsive, you're not responsive, right? So I really want you to think about, how are you living your life, and is it serving you well? Because right now, we're all stuck at home. The minute this whole thing happened, I looked at my husband and I went, oh my God, can you imagine all those people out there that are stuck in their clutter? They're stuck in their chaos. They're stuck in their overwhelm. They have piles everywhere. They are tripping over their kids' Legos if they're working at home with kids. Like, it's a reality that we cannot get away from right now. So for a lot of people who have a lot of stress and clutter and dysfunction in their life, they get to leave that every day and go to their office. We don't have it anymore. So I really want you to take a look around you right now in the space you're sitting at listening to me, and look around and see, have I set myself up for success, or have I set myself up for defeat? So who are you? It's the one thing I say all the time when I'm working with clients. Who do you want to be in your world? Who are you? I will tell you that for those of you that know me and that know me well, which nobody on this call does, but for the people in my world that know me, they would agree with me 100% that the one word that you could use to describe me is reliable. Completely reliable, right? I mean, even Olga and Alexandra and Viola, who have had interactions with me before, know that when you reach out to me, you're going to hear right back. That's just who I am in the world. I care about being reliable, but what reliability takes is planning. So not only am I reliable, I live in alignment with who I say I am. I set myself up to be that way. And now is a great opportunity for everyone to look at who they are in their world, in their business world, in their real world, and decide that who you're going to be, you're going to live in alignment with. Because it's a game changer, 100%. So getting control of your life equals getting control of how your environment functions. So you can see behind me, I am in my home office. I have the zenest home office on the planet. Why? I created it. I care deeply about my spaces. That wall behind you is what I look at. I literally am sitting on the other side of my desk for the purposes of today, so you can see what I've created behind me. I have peace, I have order, I have no distraction. I look up and I love to look at that gray wall with the pink picture and all the other pictures and the fresh flowers. I love it. I care deeply about where I'm working because I want to set myself up for success, not defeat. It's all about how your environment functions. Yes, it's lovely that it looks nice, but it functions as well as it does look nice. Here's the most important thing I'm going to say to you today. We get to choose how that environment is set up. Every single one of us that's in a space right now while you're listening to me moved into an empty space. You didn't move into the space you're currently looking at. You created what you're currently looking at. So let's just uncreate it. If you don't like the way the space is, if the space isn't serving you well, if there's too much distraction and you can't get stuff done, let's change it up. We get to do that, and now is a better time than any ever in your life. So in order to get from where you are now, which might be chaotic and overwhelm and dysfunction, to where you want to be, which is calm and clarity and productivity, is one word and one word only. And that word is systems. And systems stand for save yourself time, energy, and money. Who would have thought, right? So if I were to ask you by a show of hands, how many of you on this call put your keys in exactly the same place every single day when you get home? Mostly everybody raises their hand. Hey, guess what? Why? Because it saves us time. because we don't want to have to spend 20 minutes every 2 hours looking for our keys, right? That's a system. That's an easy system for getting control of something as simple as a key, right? How many of you on this call, no matter where you live in the world, I have to guess that you all have a silverware drawer, right? That's a kitchen system. Why don't you just display all your forks, knives, and spoons on your kitchen counter, and when you want one, walk up to it? Now, would that make sense? No. It makes sense to have them all in one drawer. So we have these systems in every aspect of our life, but when it comes to work, which is where if we work for a living, we spend more time than any, we don't have systems. So the job of a problem is to get your attention, right? Think about it. The job of a problem is to get your attention. My signature talk is called Your Success is Under Your Mess. That title enough gets your attention. Oh my God, that's me. Oh my gosh, she's talking about me. How can she see my office? She's talking about me, right? All it does is get your attention. Now the question is, what do we do about it? So I'm going to talk about the first 2 steps to getting control of your life in this aspect. First 2 steps. Number 1, wrap your head around getting organized. It's all about the mindset. It's all up here. We talked a lot about mindset today, about how we're actually dealing with this issue, right? Now's the time to say, oh my God, I got this. I'm going to do this. This has been a problem in my entire life, or I'm so sick of spending time looking for things I just had my hands on 15 minutes ago, and I'm going to start to change the way this all goes, right? So, a mindset, a set of beliefs or a way of thinking that determines one's behavior, outlook, and mental attitude. Think about that. What's your mindset about being organized? Do you believe you're disorganized? If you believe you're disorganized, then that's what's going to determine your behavior. And if you believe you're disorganized, you're going to live that way. So I want to start by changing up the mindset. We are going out of coronavirus being organized, however long this is. On some level, I hope it's another 2 months, because that gives everyone on this call a chance to organize every single solitary space that they live in. And when I say space, I mean cabinet, drawer, bookshelf, under the bed, on the wall, it doesn't matter. So I want us to think about that. So, well, when it comes to this topic, part of the mindset is keeping your head in the game. And what I mean about this is we are all on autopilot. So a lot of us are sitting at our desks right now, or our dining room table, or sitting on a nice comfy chair in our living room, and we're listening to all these fabulous speakers and we're taking notes. Here's my question. What are you going to do with those notes when you're done? Right? You just gave up a whole 2.5, 3 hours to listen to some fabulous speakers who are sharing words of wisdom that you want to remember. What are you going to do with that list of notes that you took, right? Are you just going to be on autopilot and walk back into your desk and put that pad of paper on the pile that's there and just go check your email and check your voicemail and do all the things that you normally do? That's on autopilot. I want no more autopilot. I want you to literally think about what you're doing. I want you to focus on the way you operate. So I have just created, I've been in business for 20 years, and in the last 3 years, I have created a very successful international speaking business. I am on a plane every other week, going all over the world, sharing my passion about helping people get organized in the workplace. That's my jam, right? My business has never been easier. But here's the thing, I have no stress at all about the moving parts of the business because I have control of them. And that's the best I can have, right? All I can do is get control of it once it comes into me. So I go to bed every night and turn my head off. I'm not lying in bed thinking of all the things I have to do today and who I forgot to call back and what I forgot to do. Because I have control of it, because I have systems. Systems for my email, systems for my paper, systems for my calendar, systems for my time. I just instituted really easy systems years ago when I was in corporate America, and I saw that they worked, so I worked them. So when you're not consciously creating your life, you're living accidentally, not intentionally. I'm going to say that again. When you're not consciously creating your life, you're living accidentally, not intentionally. I want us to all start living intentionally. Think about what you do with the thing that's in your hand. Where are you going to put it so you need it next, till you need it next? Where are you going to find it so you don't have to look around for it, right? Like we look around for our passwords all the time. So the change is in the choosing. You can't just want it. You have to make the decision to choose to do something about it. Choosers take action. Wanters keep on wanting. Okay. So if I were to say to you guys by a show of hands, how many of you want to lose weight? Mostly everyone on this call is going to raise their hand because that's what women do, right? But if I were to say to you now, show of hands of how many of you are going to choose to lose weight, that's always a different number, right? I'm a chooser. I saw Oprah Winfrey do her 2020 Vision Tour back in February. And Michelle Obama was her guest speaker. Amazing. And Oprah is very involved right now in Weight Watchers. And it was very Weight Watchers focused. And by the end of that experience, I signed up for Weight Watchers. I chose to lose weight. I didn't just keep saying I want to lose weight. I said, you know what? Not only do I want to, I'm going to choose to. And I'm going to sign up for a new system. It's called Weight Watchers. And since this has happened, I've lost 7 pounds in 6 weeks, coming off slow. But I am committed not to use the refrigerator as an excuse and an answer to boredom because I'm stuck in my house. I got to tell you guys, I can go to 2 places very easily about this coronavirus. The first place I go to is gratitude. I have a roof over my head. I have food on my table. I have a business that I love that I can do virtually, and I'm killing it virtually. I have an amazing husband and partner. I have a fabulous puppy that I get to play with every day. And I will tell you that when you travel for a living like I do, it's really hard to keep up any kind of exercise with regularity. And I am working out every day, loving getting out there and walking. Have a trainer that comes to my driveway and works with me from 6 feet ahead. I have decided to make this experience a positive experience on so many levels. And then there are days like yesterday where I was like, oh God, if I have to do the same 5 things again every single day, it's like Groundhog Day. The days are just running into each other. I don't know a Friday from a Saturday, from a Tuesday, from a Thursday, right? But the reality of it is I'm looking at this as an opportunity to take care of my body. I am determined that when this is all over and I finally get out of those stretch pants I've been wearing every day, my jeans are going to be loose. They are not going to be tight. That's my choice. So I want you to think about, are you in a position to get involved in what your physical space looks like, to change it so that when we're all done with this, you have made an enormous transformation in every aspect of your life? So what's in it for you? What's in it for you to get organized? Right? I say joy more than anything, right? So my tagline for my business is, it's one thing to love what you do and another to love the way you do it. I love my life. I have created this amazing business where I play everywhere I work and I work everywhere I play. I call it plurking. But here's the thing. Part of why I love what I do is because I love the way I do it. I don't have any stress about the operation of my business because I have systems. I'm never looking for paper. There is never a pile on my desk. I have an empty email inbox every day. I have a system for getting my email out of the inbox. I have total clarity on what I need to do. I sleep nights. I get to be with my family, and I'm clearly making more money from being organized. So those are a couple of things that you can get out of it. So I want you to start your day by setting your intention. Every single day, I want you to visualize what you want that day to look like, just today, right? I knew today I had to get up and get on this webinar at 9:45 and then listen to everybody while I was taking care of some other things, but totally checking in, wanting to hear what these amazing women had to say. That was my morning. I've done nothing since 9:45 other than meditate when I get up every morning, have my water with lemon, just continue my morning ritual, get on this call. I know this afternoon I have 2 more calls. Guess what I'm doing in between that? I'm going for a 90-minute walk because I earned it, because I can do it and I have the time and I'm committed to my body. So no more excuses. That's the bottom line. No more excuses. It's the easiest thing to do is just to make excuses for why we can't do things we want to do, right? So set your intentions. What does today look like? And then if you set your intention for the day, you have such a better chance of it happening that way than if you just get up and you wing it and you're not thinking about it and your autopilot is just on autopilot. So number 2, declutter your life. What is your stuff costing you? I want you to think about that. What does your actual stuff cost you, right? So clutter is nothing more than the manifestation of indecision. right? You take that notebook that you're working on right now, or that journal that you're taking notes in, you go back into your office or somewhere, you put it on a pile, you get to your email, you listen to your voicemail, you go make lunch or dinner, or you go to sleep, depending on where you are. And before you know it, indecision and not deciding has now manifested into clutter, right? So here is my 3-box process for decluttering your office and keeping it that way. And I want you to pick a space. I don't care what the space is. Now, when I say a space, I want you to start with a room. Let's say you're going to go into your home office. Now, in your home office, you have a desk, you have desk drawers, you have a bookshelf, you might have a credenza, you might have a table. Every one of those spaces are also spaces. I don't care if you just pick the top desk drawer in your desk, okay? I don't care if you pick a bin in your closet. It doesn't matter. You're going to go through and you are going to determine whether it stays or goes, okay? You get to decide. Is it trash? Do I need it or do I not? That's box number 1. Number 2 is you don't need it, but maybe someone else does, right? Maybe you have an assistant and there's a bunch of stuff in your office that really doesn't belong to you, but it belongs to her. Maybe you found something that you think you don't need anymore, but maybe one of your kids does, or even your grandchildren, right? Or a colleague or a friend. I know that I got something in the mail the other day because I ordered Ellin DeGeneres' Be Kind box. And in the Be Kind box was a little box of mindset cards for kids. I don't have little kids and I don't have grandchildren yet, but I know right now that I have a client that's working at home who has 3 small children and her husband's still going to work every day. And I popped that in the mail to them and said, maybe this is something you could use with your kids to keep them busy while you're working. So I didn't need it, but I knew there was someone else that did. That's number 2. Number 3 is the keepers. So you're going to get rid of the stuff you don't need. You're going to put in the stuff, put in a box where you could donate to others. That could also be goodwill. It could be anything. It's just stuff that you're not keeping, but maybe else someone wants. And then the last thing is the keepers. Now, here's the thing with the keepers. I only want you to keep what you need and what you love. And there's a word missing there. And the word that I'm leaving out is the word like. And here's why. We like everything. And that's what gets us in trouble in the first place, right? We like everything. We go to TK Maxx or we get online and we see something and we really like it and it was a great price and it's a designer and we buy it, and then what do? It stays in our closet. We never wear it. We never felt good about it to begin with. It was just a great price, right? I want you to only keep what you need and what you love. If you go through your whole house and you look at everything and go like it or love it or need it, and it doesn't fall into one of those categories, out it goes. When my husband and I sold our house after our kids went to college, that we were living in for 16 years, and we had accumulated a ton of stuff, I said to him, we're going to walk around the house and we're going to do this. And we would look at a picture on the wall that I got in Italy when we were away years ago. And I'd say, what do you think? And he goes, not only do I not love it, I never liked it. I only got it because you liked it. And I went, out it goes. If you and I don't love everything that's on our walls, if we don't love everything that's in our closet or that we have on a bookshelf, it's not staying. I want your house to create joy. Your house is not there to create jobs. I don't want you to walk in your home and see a pile in this corner that you have to take care of and a pile on that desk that you have to take care of. I walk in my house, I kick my shoes off, I sit on my sofa and I rub my puppy's underbelly. I enjoy my space. My space has no jobs for me. Yes, I have to empty the dishwasher or fold the laundry, but it's not sitting out there staring me in the face waiting for me to. I live in my space. Every corner of my space is joy. And we get to set that up. And I will tell you that when you get rid of the things you like and you start to make decisions and you choose to decide to get rid of what doesn't bring you joy and or you need or you love, it's a game changer. So I'm looking for progress, not perfection. I am not 100% organized. I never will be. I do not believe in perfection. It does not exist. I'm looking for progress. I'm not looking for you to get off of this call and immediately tear into your home and not do another thing until it's done. You didn't get this way overnight, and we're not going to undo it overnight. Little at a time. Just pick a space. So here's what's possible. You get important work done. You have control over your workload. Your email inbox can be at 0. You have complete focus every day. You have total self-confidence. You're meeting your daily and weekly goals. You're able to honor your word. You have respect from your clients and colleagues. You have more energy for your work. You have increased bottom line revenue, renewed job satisfaction, a good night's sleep. And the most important thing on this list is peace of mind. And I want everyone out there to have peace of mind about the way they operate. I want you to take control of right now what you can control, because there's a lot out there we have no control over. But if we're being sequestered to our home and we have control over how that operates and how that feels, listen, guys, the bottom line is this. Every single thing that we do in our life always boils down to one thing and one thing only, I believe. And that's, how does it make us feel? How does it make us feel? If the way you're living doesn't make you feel good, if the space that you're in doesn't make you feel good, let's set it up so that it does, right? This is the silver lining right here of Corona. I am the silver lining, getting organized. So here's the reality. This year's going to look exactly the same if you don't do something about it. Your stuff's going to continue to eat away at you, at your time and energy, and you're going to work twice as hard than you need to and just get by. Who are you ready to be? Think about that. Who are you ready to be? Are you ready to be the reliable one? Are you ready to be the responsive one? Are you ready to be the one who lives with integrity? What if you could have clarity every day? You could have more free time. You were energized at your desk every day. You were able to work smart, not hard. And more importantly, you love how you did what you do. Who are you going to choose to be? You get to do it, babe. You guys, all of you get to choose on your own. So let's talk. I'm just going to put this out there that if anybody wants to talk to me on a Zoom call from wherever you are in the world, hop on my calendar, grab a 30-minute session for free. Let's talk about your challenges. Let's talk about what's got you stuck as far as your environment and how I can potentially give you specific tips to your specific challenge for getting things done. Okay? Just hop on this calendar link, copy it and put it in your email right now. Or if you don't want to do that, just go to Wendy at wendyellen.com. That's my email address, wendy@wendyellen.com. Hop on an email with me. Just say to me, I want a free speaking session. I'll send you my calendar link. We'll get on the phone. Literally, it's that easy. So the standard of success in life isn't the things. It isn't the money or the stuff. It is absolutely the amount of joy that you feel. That is my joy. And that's my joy. And that's my biggest joy. That underbelly gets me every single day. Everything changes the moment you commit to something. Let's open for questions, Olg.
Wendy, thank you so much. You brought again so much energy into your speech and presentation. I'm sure many not only enjoyed, but learned so much. And be ready for people approaching you and asking you questions. You've just kindly made this suggestion. So I'll be asking you some questions. Right. How do you make yourself have clarity, and how is it all possible to always be in clarity? I don't think it is possible. The lady who's asking this question is saying, there's a day and night, moon and sun, etc. Can you, okay. And let's try to give quick answers because there are a few questions and we would like to get through as many as possible.
So when I talk about clarity here, I'm talking about knowing what you need to do, okay? And the reason why people don't have clarity is because they have distraction. They can't really figure out what they have to do because they have a pile over here, they have a pile over there, they have a pile over there. They're not sure what the piles are. So every day they flip through the piles to make sure they don't forget what they need to do, right? But when you have a system and all that goes away and you know exactly where it is when you need it, what's in front of you is what you have to do right now, right? I don't have anything on my desk except what I'm working on right now, which is this PowerPoint presentation. Right? There are no piles anywhere because I have a system for my paper and a pile is not an option. So when you talk about clarity, I'm talking about clarity in the context of how do I make sure I'm clear on what I need to do today? That's clarity right there. How do I need to know? What do I need to know about today? I'm only on today. I'm not on tomorrow. Tomorrow will happen tomorrow. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you very much. We moved.
If I don't answer questions the way you want, email me and I'll get on a call with you.
Absolutely, we'll organize it. We are moving now to the next question. What will be different after, obviously, the situation we are in now?
Listen, who knows what's going to be different, but all I know is you're stuck in your home. And if the way you're living in your home isn't serving you well, change it up. You're eventually going to go back potentially to working in another office. I don't know. If you're a home office person like I am, this is no different for me. I work out of the house every day for 20 years, okay? I don't have an office to go to. I go down a plane and I go speak, or I go to my clients' offices. So when you're asking me what's going to be different, in what context, I think being organized, setting yourself to be organized if you're not, transforms the way you're going to operate in every aspect of your life going forward. You're not going to stand for being disorganized. You're not going to stand for having to take 20 minutes every day to clean up your piles to figure out what you have to do today. You're going to come in, know exactly where you need to go to get the stuff you need to do today, take your work out and get it done.
Fantastic. Next question. How do you achieve mental clarity?
You guys, I am a meditator. I know I'm not the only one that spoke about meditating, but I am a 30-minute meditator every single morning. Every single morning before I even get out of bed. I get up, I sit in my bed, I put my pillow against the backboard, I sit and I meditate with Insight Timer for 30 minutes. And I get really clear on what I want my day to look like. Part of the mental clarity is the envisioning what you want your day to look like. See, I don't have a to-do list. I have a to-do system. And my to-do system allows me not to stress out, because a list just tells you of all the things you have to do, but it doesn't tell you when you're going to do them. You just look at this long list every day and you start crossing things out, and then you can't see the ones you didn't cross out. So you flip the page and you rewrite the list. And that's the part of the stress that I don't like. I don't want to have to rewrite a list every single day to remind myself of the things I have to do. Why don't I just want to just get clear on what I have to do today? Just today. So, you know, unfortunately, I can't roll out all the tips I have, but I have a toolbox, and it's what I teach. And for those of you that want, that want to get on a call with me to talk to me about learning these tools, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share.
Thank you very much. I'm sure many will. Next question. Let's say we do all these amazing things you suggested. What if people in our lives do not support us or help us? For example, our partners who we're living with?
I get that question all the time. Here's the thing. You can't want it for them. You can only want it for you. You can only do your part. But you do have a right to say, listen, I love you. I'm tired of living this way. I just ran into this woman on a webinar who shared some tools for how to get organized. I'm in. You in with me? Okay, if you're not, but I'm in. And I'm not going to let you stop me, because the best thing you can do is teach by example. Okay? So if you're all living under the same roof and you're all living the same way, someone's got to take the bull by the horns and say, I'm not living this way anymore. And here's what I want to do. I'd love you to join me in this, but if you're not going to join me in this, I'm not going to let you stop me, because you can't want it for them. I have clients that say to me, oh my God, I want you to work with my husband. I'm like, when your husband wants to work with me, have him call me. He's got to want it.
Great. After this, you might have questions from men as well coming towards you. And now we are coming to the next question, which is going to be a final question, because we are running out of time, which is going to be, just one second, I've lost it. It was a very good question, very, very good question about emails organizing. And I've lost it. I do apologize. Yes.
That's a whole
yes. What is your system for emails? I received so many, and it's just overwhelming.
Yeah, I can't get into my system now. It's way too long for me to describe. But here's the thing. What I want you guys to realize this: your email inbox is just a loading dock. It's exact same thing as the paper email, the paper mailbox outside your house, right? We all have a mailbox outside our house. The mailman comes, gives you mail, you go down, you take it out. You don't just take what you want out of the mailbox and leave the crap for the mailman. You take everything out. That's essentially a loading dock, right? Your email inbox is meant to be a loading dock. It's not meant for all your emails to live in there. It's meant for you to process them and get them out and create folders on the side for them. So there are so many tools I have. I have systems for every aspect of your life. I'd love to share with you how people work with me if you're interested, but I don't want to do that on this call. Email me at wendy@wendyellin.com, and I will get on the phone call with you, find out what your issues are, and help you however I can.
Thank you so much.
I'm
So many
totally committed to helping you guys.
Thank you so much. Comments we're receiving practical, energizing, excellent. Thank you for such a constructive and clear program of improvement. Also very doable. Love it. And many others. Great energy, Wendy. Thank you. What a fantastic presentation. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you very, very much. You've been our final speaker joining us from Atlanta, United States. Thank you very, very much. I will be asking you now to switch off your video and your microphone for my final goodbye to all the attendees, and thanking everyone again. And thank you very, very much for your wonderful, energizing presentation. Thank you. And here my final word to say thank you and goodbye to everyone who joined us this afternoon during our webinar this week. Thank you very, very much. We, of course, would like to thank all our speakers, contributors, and let's just name them again. Wendy Ellin from United States, Dr. Viola Edward from Cyprus, Dr. Kuiljeit Uppaal from India, Xania Wong from Hong Kong, and Dr. Anna Belova from Russia. Thank you so much, our wonderful speakers. Thank you, our audience. We will be in touch, we'll be keeping in touch with you. We'll be notifying you about our next webinars, about our plans. Let's stay creative and positive, of course, in these challenging times. We want to bring you good energy, positive energy, and creative energy. This is what we would like to achieve. Thank you all. You know, you can find us on social media. You can also be in touch with us on an email, admin@creativewomen.co. And please stay tuned, stay in touch. Thank you very, very much again. And of course, now I'm wishing you a very happy Easter, a very different Easter for everyone. The Easter we'll always remember. But enjoy, stay united, stay in harmony, and we will be soon all together, and we will be enjoying again our Creative Women live conferences. Thank you and goodbye for now.